crazy.
This is 30.
Shh, no, I'm kidding. I'm more than happy to share that. I know it's wild. My mood all week. I've been like sending people like the little old lady emoji and stuff.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I can't even wrap my head around that. But yeah, it's really exciting to be celebrating a big milestone for sure in my life. And just like excited, of course, to see what the next chapter of my life looks like. Oh, thank you.
I love it. We have a little, I love this little graphic. It's so cute. So why don't, hi. Why don't we tell people what we have planned for today for your birthday?
Yeah, and even just like real quick, like because the party's already started. We started on like Thursday.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, because me and Haley went out on Thursday. We just had like a little girls' day. We both took off of work. It was really nice. And went to a bunch of coffee shops, toy stores, comic stores, bookshops, food, wine. Oh my god, like we really jam packed it, and we didn't even do
Sushi.
everything that we were planning on doing. And that was a lot.
We had we had like really high expectations for that day, and it definitely exceeded it. But I'm one of those people that when I plan, I like hack a day, and so we were also like going to explore 2 different sides of Chicago.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna love all the birthday wishes. And we ended up only doing one neighborhood filled with all of that. And then we were just so tired after walking around.
Yeah, I think we just like laid like on the couch. We're like, oh my god, like I'm so tired.
We
So
also
hungry.
watched Hocus Pocus. I mean, we really did it all. Brunch, all of the shops, sushi, happy hour, movie night.
I mean, yeah.
We did everything.
It was a pretty good day. Yeah, and then yesterday I spent the day with my mom. Obviously, shout out to her in the comments. And we did I did shopping day part 2 with her and did a bunch of like bookstores and lunch and stuff like that. So yeah, so far it's been pretty good. And then tonight, it's gonna be we're gonna go out to dinner and we're gonna go to a Alice in Wonderland pop-up bar, which is gonna be at our beercade that we love going to. And they always do like really fun things for like Halloween and stuff. So we're both gonna dress up. We'll definitely be posting pictures of that. I'm excited to dress up.
I am so excited to dress up. I need everyone to know, the most I've dressed up since I was a child. Like I have
He's
not.
not kidding. Like for me, I always like to go out. I think just because like my birthday has always been, of course, around Halloween. So I've been always like super, super into it. And then I think I've been even more into it as an adult. And so like this year, like yeah, I definitely am really excited with my costume, and we're gonna both dress up together. So that'll be fun.
It's gonna be so exciting. Oh man, I can't wait for us to take pictures and videos
Yes,
and
it's gonna be good.
all of it. So because it is Halloween weekend, we thought it would be fun to just talk about our Halloween favorites. And I mean, first of all, I just have to acknowledge this graphic is amazing and it makes me so happy, and Candis made it. So
yeah. Well, I did get the Scream or the ghost face from Etsy. Shout out to people out there. But yeah, it was a really fun thing. Like I was excited to just do like some new things for the show. So
yeah. So we're going to dive in and do different categories of scary movies. But definitely let us know what you pick for like your favorite scary movie, and just like any of the categories that we're talking about, because I'm really curious to see what people are into.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
So for our old school Halloween like horror movie, Candis, do you want to start us off with?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I picked Halloween, which is of course classic, but I only started watching it within like a couple years ago, which is so funny because it's an absolute classic. But then once I got really into it, like I had to watch like not all of them, but majority of them, and it's something that I definitely watch every year. Because and it's really interesting just because it was shot in such a way that like it was just really done, like it put like a kind of like a, not a staple, like a standard on like Halloween, like, or scary movies for sure. And it just like the way it was shot is just really creepy. There's like no blood in it. It's really cool from like a cinematography like aspect, but it's also just really good. Like I ended up like really liking like Michael Myers as a, of course, as a killer. So yeah, it's one of my favorites that I never thought I would be like so into. Oh yeah,
Well, that's so cool to know. My parents really love Halloween. I think the first time I might have seen Halloween was with my parents. I had seen it a couple of years ago, and they're just really into Michael Myers. It's such a, I mean, it's a cult classic for a reason.
Yeah, and I definitely like watching all the other ones. Of
Oh
course,
my
we
God.
have to give. I made Haley watch. You guys have ever seen the Halloween Resurrection, which is probably like definitely like not. It's one of those like it's so good or it's so
It's
bad
so bad
it's
it's
good.
good.
It's so
Is
bad it's
it
good.
though? Is
Yes,
it?
yes, it's so funny.
That was the most ridiculous. I mean, I just
Busta Rhymes is in it.
You have Jamie Lee Curtis in it for like 0.2 seconds, in
She
which
hates that movie too. She was
yeah,
like, she
it's
didn't
not
even
even
want to be in
canon
it.
though. She like falls out of a window and dies in the first 2 seconds. Spoiler, I guess, but it's like literally the first 2 seconds, and like it doesn't matter to the rest of them. Oh
But
my
if you
gosh.
really want like to watch like a Halloween movie and get like some laughs in, like you have to watch it. I watch it now every
It's
year
crazy.
just because it cracks me up. But obviously, watch the original two, and even the newest ones that they came out with in the last couple of years are really good too. But yeah, such a good series. But yeah, do you want to dive into your choice?
Yeah, well, really quickly, your mom said The Night of the Living Dead was her first horror movie.
Oh, that's right. So I don't know. She wasn't able to tune in last time that you talked about it. And how? Oh
Yeah.
yes, Haley actually really likes that movie and thinks it's funny.
Well, okay, because it's one of those things where, right? It's like it is an older film, and so having like when you're watching it through a modern lens, you're kind of like, oh, but you can understand the like art, like the artistic craft of it, because
Yeah.
my boyfriend and I, we went to actually go see it in theaters for the first. Neither of us had seen it ever, and there's this theater that Remembers at Music Box in Chicago, and they do a lot of like just like old films and also indie films, and they do a lot of really cool events. And so they did Night of the Living Dead, and I mean it was just such a awesome experience because I think we enjoyed it more in terms of watching it with a larger audience, because there were those kind of beats where you're like, this is kind of cringy, or also like, this is hilarious. And I found myself laughing more because other people were laughing like with it. And so that kind of like laughter swelled through the theater.
Yeah. No,
But
that
it was
totally
just so
makes
cool
sense.
to see it for like being one of the older zombie films, and it being from George Romero. So yeah. And I also understand, yeah, if you're like 8 or 10, that is like a total scary.
Yeah, I think ratings were a little different back then.
Definitely. So for my old school horror pick, it's Scream. So I was really fortunate to see Scream in theaters as well. I feel like that is such a cool experience. There was a theater in college that was playing. I hadn't seen it pre-college, and they were just doing a week of horror movies for free, which is, they never did it again, but I thought that was the coolest thing.
That's
It's just
so
like,
fun.
they would just like show up, they would fill the theater, and I saw Evil Dead 2 that way, but I'd seen Scream, and oh my gosh, the Scream movies are awesome. I haven't seen the latest Scream movies.
I haven't either, actually. Yeah.
Well, and so you guys know, there's like in the 2000s, there was all of those Scream films, and those I had seen because, you're like a teenager and everyone's like, I want, like all of the kids wanted to watch those at like sleepovers and stuff like that. But I'd never seen the original. So I go to the theater and I just like was blown away. It was hilarious. It was so good. I mean, it's parodying the horror genre in such a smart way. Like, I feel like the later, like early 2000s Screams are fun and goofy, but the way that this kind of handled making a parody of the horror genre, but also being kind of like serious and still being a horror movie was just so good. I walked out of the theater, my mind was blown. I was like, this is why it's a classic.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely one of my favorite series also that I always have to watch. Yeah, I think I watched them when I was pretty young too, and it was like a good introduction to like because like my favorite genre is like slasher films and stuff like that. So that definitely would fit with that, and of course there was like a lot of iconic actors are in it too.
Oh yeah, I remember being surprised. I was like, that person's.
Yeah. Those are so good. I haven't watched that this year. I should definitely do that. It's really
good. The original's the best.
Oh yeah,
though.
I watched a lot of them with her together.
I love that. I love that you guys watch the scary movies together.
Yeah.
Mitch, yeah,
classic.
Chef's kiss to me. Hi.
Oh, thank you.
And then we have our new school. Which it's super funny I've been getting really into horror movies. My boyfriend is like a huge horror like film buff, and so I started like watching a lot more with him, and I found that I've like really have leaned into the genre. And my favorite new one is X by Ty. I think it's directed by Ty West. And it's going to be a trilogy. So there's Pearl. They all have like Mia Goth, and then I forget what the third one's going to be. But so far, between Pearl and X is the best. Also, Kid Cudi's in it. Very
really?
random. He is. There's like people you would recognize in it. It's a slasher, but I just the directing of it, the shots were so good. It kind of tackles like themes of like youth and beauty and old age in this like really interesting way, but it takes place in the 60s, and these group of people are going to shoot a porno.
Oh my god.
At a farmhouse.
Wow.
So just like
what vibe.
Definitely R-rated movie right there. But it's so I think actually the girl who plays Wednesday is
Oh yeah, I was looking it up when I was pulling these together. Jenna Ortega, yeah.
Yeah, Jenny Ortega is in it. So she's also one of the girls, and then there's like this old woman and her husband who own like the house that they're renting the farm to these people, and then just kind of crazy things ensue from there. And it's so good. There's this scene I have to say. I don't know what it was, but also this is the only horror movie that I've ever watched that's almost made me emotional and cry.
Wow.
And not because it was scary. It was because it pulled on some heartstrings. And I was like, if you can do that in a horror movie, I'm impressed. He plays this like Fleetwood Mac song, and I'm like, am I feeling emotional? Am I about to cry?
Wow, who knew?
Did we just make this into a drama? And then it goes back to slasher, and it's
You're amazing. Like, just kidding.
I was like, this is art.
Wow.
So highly recommend, especially if you're into like horror films that kind of do things a little bit differently, but it's still like in that like kind of slasher genre. Like you get the blood, you get the, all of the fun things. So that is definitely.
Yeah, that definitely sounds really interesting.
Yeah, Donald, you definitely have to watch them. They're good. And Pearl is like a take on like 1940s romance films meets Wizard of Oz.
I bet you love that.
Well, meets Wizard of Oz meets slasher. Like take all of that.
Don't even know how that fits, but that's really intriguing. Just saying that compared like that.
Well, and then you have it.
Yeah. So yeah, I have it. So yeah, I really like the It movies in general. I have seen all of them. I have seen the one, of course, with Tim Curry, which is a way different vibe. I mean, I definitely think you should watch both, but the newer ones, in my opinion, are definitely a lot like scarier, but like not too scary. But I watch them with like my boyfriend all the time, and because he's a big fan of the It movies. I've never read the book. Have you read the book before, Haley? Any of Stephen King?
So I haven't. In general, I've never read Stephen King, which is it's definitely on like a list because I've just you know,
Yeah, me too.
obviously he's a master of his craft. I remember watching the old one and then watching the new one and then being like, I need to read the book. And then I think I definitely owned it. And then it just
never happened. I mean,
it's so thick. And
it is. Carl's like, I know he started reading it, and I don't think he got through all of it. He was just like telling me the like some differences and things. So it's kind of cool to like probably if you watch the Tim Curry one, which is a whole like more of a comedic vibe, and then this one, which is like more scary and definitely like modern, you know. And then the book is kind of like a mix between, and you get some extra things about other characters and stuff from what he was telling me. It's like I just really love it. Let me try to think. The guy that plays Pennywise, I think it's Bill. I feel like it's like Skarsgård or something.
Oh yes, yeah.
He is fantastic. He's just like really good at being creepy. And yeah, it just the whole vibe. Plus, like the kids they chose is a great cast. Like even like one of the kids from like Stranger Things is in it. Like, yeah, I just thought it was like really well done. But look at Donald's comment. Yeah, I feel like always the first part in either like any of the movies is always better, just because it's like the main story. But I do think that the part 2 of the newer ones are definitely better than the original. I think the originals were actually made for TV movies.
It was. I think it was because I remember I watched like because it was typically broken up, and then if you watch it together, it's like an insane. It's like it's like 3 hours or more.
Yeah, I mean, even the new one, they like broke that one up into 2 movies as well.
Yeah. But, oh my gosh, I remember watching the old one for the first time and being like, this is so long.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's just they did a really good job like rebooting it and making it even better, because you know sometimes it can be like, oh well, the original would have been better or whatever, but like I think in this case they really elevated it and made it like fit like modern times, and his look is just way scarier too. Like Tim Curry's is just like it's just funny to me. But yeah, like this guy he's really creepy.
Well, and it's one of those things to me is that I've never been, I mean, I don't like clowns, but I've never been a person that's scared of clowns. Like I know people who are really like, wow, clowns freak them out. That's not something I identify with really strongly. And so, but watching the new It, I was like, you know what? That's freaky. Yeah, that's so scary.
Yeah,
they did a really good job. I would, for like movies that kind of the older films that hold up, I recently watched the new, or not the new. Well, I have seen the new, and it wasn't that great. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, you were talking about that. Yeah, I have definitely not seen those because I definitely am not a very. I can't. I feel
like you could handle the older one.
Really? Like I can. Yeah, like I was saying, I like slasher films, but I cannot like hardcore gore stuff. I'm too squeamish.
Well, so the newer Texas Chainsaw Massacres definitely lean into the gore. The older one, though there is gore, is just like directed in a way that is so creepy. Like I watched it and I was actually not like scared, but I was like, this is really horrifying and this is really unsettling. And like there's just like this one scene that was just like there wasn't even like it wasn't even about the gore. It was just like how they captured the faces and the actors who were kind of crazy in it did it so well. Just a phenomenal job acting. I mean, it's from the 70s and it's really, really good. I was like, wow, one of the best older horror films I've seen to date for sure.
Well, good to know. Maybe one day I'll get myself to do it.
I'll rewatch it with you.
Oh man. Okay, family friendly. So change the tone of that. So Haley has a new favorite. Oh my God, Haley.
Okay, so in general, like I said, I'm not a huge Halloween person. I just never really, I mean, I would kind of dress up, but I really put minimal effort in. So it's really interesting because both my parents, huge Halloween people, love decorating, love just doing a ton of different, I just saw a text come across my screen. And they've always just been really into Halloween, and I never caught that bug. So in general, I've never been one to like rewatch like certain movies, especially from my childhood. So guess who just saw Hocus Pocus this year? This girl. And I've already seen it more than once.
Including with me, so.
I saw it and I was texting Candis. It was late at night. I saw the first one and I was like, this is amazing. This is so much fun. Like the way that I didn't know Sarah Jessica Parker was in it. I didn't know so much about this film, which I
thought was so funny because it came out, as you see, 93. So today, so this year it's 30 years old, like me. I mean, in my case, it was kind of I was telling Haley this. It's so crazy, but I really liked it as a kid, but always like Billy, the zombie guy, always scared me. I don't know. I think I was like a little kid trying to wrap my head around what a zombie was, and like was convinced I would maybe be a zombie or something, or like if I died. I was like really, I don't know. It was a lot of thinking as a child, like trying to understand it. But
maybe Candis contemplating mortality after.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, it was like I mean, obviously you guys know by now. Like I just love witches and witch stories and everything. So of course, like naturally I would enjoy something like this. And it definitely is a movie that's still like, well, I was gonna say it holds up, but then to degrees it kind of doesn't. I mean, it holds up as in it
totally does. What are you talking about?
No, I mean like some of the things we saw that we were like,
oh yeah,
it's funny that it was a Disney movie. Like as far as that, like as it's definitely like holds up as far as like story, and it's like we of course do like enjoy it, but like it was like just some things we were like, I don't know. It's just funny watching a 90s movie from like years later.
Campy.
What would be acceptable in like movies and stuff.
You know,
I didn't either.
Honestly, it was part of that long list that I'm pretty sure most people on the internet now know of, like films that Haley has not seen but should have seen like decades ago. Yep. Like the Star Wars trilogy. Which, by the way, I've watched the first. It's not obviously episode 1, but it's like the episode that starts everything. The first Star Wars.
The older ones,
the older one with like Harrison Ford. I watched it.
Yeah. Well, those are the ones you definitely need to start with.
Yeah. So I started with that. So
wow, I didn't know this. Very good job.
Yeah. No, I use Letterboxd. All thanks to shout out to my boyfriend for turning me on to Letterboxd. If you're a huge movie buff, definitely download that. It's like a social media app where you can like rate films and put reviews and follow friends and stuff like that. Anyways, I put like I think 3.5 stars because I enjoyed it, but I also was a little bored. I'm not gonna lie. It throughout some of the scenes because I don't have that nostalgic feel. For it, and I think I put it was like 3.5 stars. I got a text in the morning was like, "You monster! How do you like?" from Tim, and he was like, "How do you rate Star Wars?" And I was like, "Don't look at me."
It's so funny.
But yeah, so Hocus Pocus was one of those films. But now I'm in. I'm like in for
she's like hardcore in. It was just so funny. Like, I mean, you bought like a Lego set.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Well, the Lego set, I have to say, before I'd seen the movie, I was like, that Lego set is really cool. Then I saw the movie and I was like, now I need this.
Well, yeah, you're like, now it's a sign I need to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And guess who's gonna be Winifred for Halloween? Me.
I know. Who would have thought? I didn't.
I can't wait to post pictures.
I mean, it's so funny because she like FaceTimed me the other day, and I was like not expecting it, and she like, I mean, I knew she was gonna be her, but then she like showed up in full costume on FaceTime, and I was like, oh my god! But she looks so good, so I'm excited to see like the full costume.
I got fake teeth as well, guys, and I can't wait to do my makeup. I am truly in, and then I just have this like right next to me, so I'm gonna show you guys.
Oh, yeah. How cool is that?
I got a book.
Which you have to have.
You have to. I also stand by that decision with your wife.
She definitely does now.
Yes, I recently bought the Hocus Pocus Lego house because the Lego was doing that gift with purchase of the Steamboat Willie, and if you got like Star Wars, Marvel, or Disney, and really the only set that I was like really wanting was the Sanderson house, and I wanted also the gift of purchase. Righteous.
Good choice.
Movie
I feel like
Guillotine. And then I don't know.
I remember her telling me about that. I don't think I saw that. I can't even remember what it was about. But oh yeah, we love the Casper movies. Yeah. I know, that's what I was really like, I was going through this with Haley. Like, I don't know which movie I want to pick for family friendly because I love so many. Like I thought about Casper. I loved Casper and Wendy growing up. But I ended up picking Gremlins because I thought about it and was like, oh, that's one that I definitely love, and it's kind of like one that I either will watch around Halloween or even Christmas because it's set in Christmas. But it's one I watched like pretty early on when I was a kid, and yeah, like I don't remember it like scaring me or anything, but I loved like just all the little gremlin creatures, and Gizmo's adorable, and of course it's an 80s movie and I love that. So I don't know. It definitely, it's a different type of like scary movie where it's like just these little creatures that create and cause havoc. I think I've seen. There's a second one too that I think I've kind of seen, but it definitely is not as good as the first one in my opinion. But it's really one of my favorites.
This freaked me out as a kid. I'm starting to realize that I think a lot of the Halloween films too, when I was a kid, they just kind of weirded me out. Like Gremlins weirded me out. I don't know if you'd count E.T. as kind of like something you'd watch around this time, but also thought E.T. was weird.
Oh my God, you're so
I've been a huge Casper fan. And then also Ghostbusters was like something that weirded me out when I was a kid as well. I mean, I like Ghostbusters.
Haley is just trying to like
I know, it's like everything Candis loves. I'm like,
oh my God, you were so funny. But I'm kind of getting a pattern though, like with the things that you've told me. Like I'm kind of getting the things
Muppets,
of like
Sesame Street.
She doesn't like puppets. She doesn't like anything that these weird looking creatures. Like I'm getting an idea now.
Yeah, I'm not a Muppet person or puppet thing, so it's like, I don't know. Yeah, the Gremlins. They're like little like furry things. I don't find them cute.
I mean the other ones are not supposed to be cute, but the Mogwai are. Which fun fact, for some reason, like when the Furbies came out, which I know is like that's a whole other kind of creepy, but they actually made a Gizmo one, and of course, like I was me because I like weird creatures. I was into like the Furbies, and I got the Gizmo one, and I remember like your Furbies could actually like talk to like each.
Their eyes would open. They would be like, and they have like weird eyelashes. Nothing.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny that they actually made like a Gizmo Furby, like,
and that, it matches.
That was like totally coincidence that I was like when I actually started like getting into Gremlins too, because obviously that was 1984. I wasn't born yet. So yeah, that was kind of a funny thing. But
I remember McDonald's did a lot of those like Furby toys because I had a friend.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, McDonald's had the best toys back in the 90s for sure.
Absolutely,
and early 2000s.
Well, and there was I feel like this is in the vein of things that you love that I'm like I don't understand is the Trolls.
Yes. And we're talking about the like old school Trolls, not like the new glittery ones that are which I've never seen.
The ones that look family friendly now are not it. Candis likes the ones that were very
no, but not 90s. Like even the original. It's like actually there's a couple that's even in Toy Story, like that kind of style. It's like the cute ones that are
my favorite movie.
There was ones that are like kind of creepy, and then they made them a little bit cuter, and they have the little gems in their stomach. And
I love you so much.
And me and my mom used to like go to toy stores when I was a kid, and we would like. I have like a little collection of the Trolls too. They're so cute.
It's so cute.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me, we're being talking about one of those. Yeah, Haley, Ghost of Mr. Chicken's another one. I watched a lot of like old, like we're talking old school. I'm talking like a lot of older, like fun, like family friendly stuff. And I have to show you this one at some point. But it's like it's a comedy about this guy that goes like is scared of everything, and then he spends a night in a haunted house, and like stuff happen. And it's actually we're gonna watch some of these.
Fun.
Yeah, my mom. They passed on all these things that she liked collecting, and then now I do too. So,
and well, speaking of Abbott and Costello, we have our annual rewatch. So do you want to talk more about that one?
Yeah, so this was like the first thing that came to mind, like when we started talking about Halloween movies. Oh, this is something that like I always tell everybody, okay, if you like love like Universal monsters, you're gonna absolutely love this. Because what's kind of funny is I love Universal monsters like hardcore, but I've only seen like a couple of them, which is kind of funny. Like I feel like a fake fangirl, but I love this movie was one of the like ones I saw as a kid that I absolutely loved that both of my parents watched. As you can see, it's from 1948 and it's in black and white, but it actually like fits the vibe like perfectly. I mean, obviously like a lot of the older Universal films are also black and white, but it fits like the spooky vibe. So like for anyone that doesn't know, Abbott Costello was a duo, like a comedy duo from I don't know, back in the 40s, maybe even 30s. I don't know how far back they go. And they did a lot of like collaborations with the Universal monsters. So this was one of definitely like my favorites that they did, which was it's Meet Frankenstein. Abbott Costello could Meet Frankenstein, and it's not just Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf or the Wolfman, excuse me. But yeah, so and they're like such a funny duo. Like this one guy, he's like this little short guy that's like scared of everything, and the other guy, like he never believes him that he's like seeing monsters and stuff. And it's like the actual like it's like Bela Lugosi Dracula. So it's like the actual people that they had like the actors that actually were in the original like monster movies are in this movie. Which is crazy. But yeah, it's really, really good. One of these days I'm gonna make Haley watch it because
I want to see it. I mean, it sounds
so fun. It's like it's not really scary, of course, because it's just the like really old school classic horror. Oh, we have someone that actually has seen it. I love it. Yeah, it's so good. And yeah, it definitely is like more on the family friendly side. But it's like I thought it was actually a good introduction to even just like Universal monsters. Hi. And then even like they did a lot of other ones that were mixed like with the Invisible Man, Mummy, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Plus they just have like a bunch of other just comedies. But
I want to see these. I mean, I'm here for the older films. I definitely want to like.
It's so good. And it's just like silly humor. It's fun. Just like your typical like think of like Scooby Doo like running away from monsters kind of thing. Like it's fun.
Here for it. And then for my annual rewatch, I was thinking really hard. I feel like the movie that I do watch repeatedly that's more of like a scary movie is Halloween, mostly because my family really likes that film and there's just a lot of people in my life who like it, so I end up watching it. But if I had to like really pick something that I watch around the season annually, it's You've Got Mail, which is not a scary movie, but it's definitely complete fall vibes for me. I watch it every year around this time and 5 stars. I mean, Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks. I think the real tragedy here is that I learned last
I knew you were going to say this.
that Candis has never seen You've Got Mail.
Or what was the other movie? What was the other movie?
Oh, When Harry Met Sally. Just like really all of these classic rom-coms that are just like chef's kiss. So good. So good.
I know. I actually am equally surprised because I love rom-coms, but I don't know.
I mean, like the older, I don't understand.
She can't remember it. She like, we were texting and then she like, I kept saying, no, I haven't seen this. And then she like FaceTimes me just to like give me a look. Like, are you serious?
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, so that's on my list. So we got a bunch for Haley, and now we have You've Got Mail for me, and what was it? I keep forgetting the other one. What was it?
When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally. I can't even remember. Yeah, we got a bunch to watch. We're never gonna run out of movies to watch together.
Dave Chappelle does play Tom Hanks. It's the most random role for Dave Chappelle. I'm
guessing even he's seen it then. Wow, even Carlos has seen it. Wow.
Yeah, Candis, I don't know what happened. I feel like some like alternate universe, like Candis came through during the time period in which you should have seen that, and like.
Well, I was clearly watching this instead.
Well, then our last, kind of like Halloween themed question is Nightmare Before Christmas, a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? Could be both. But I wanted to give us a harder answer of is it one or the other, and like what is it for us? So Candis, is it a Halloween or Christmas movie?
Yeah, and I'm really excited to hear everybody's like thoughts in the comments. We definitely want to know what you think. Yeah, we were starting to talk about this yesterday because I definitely will watch it like during both times, but I had to really think of like, what do I feel? I like if I have to choose, like we have to choose here. I say I lean just a little bit more towards Halloween, just because first of all it's Tim Burton, like all Tim Burton stuff is Halloween, like vibes, and just because like even like the song in the movie is like it's this is Halloween. That's the whole like you know.
You do have me on the song.
Yeah. I mean, I really always enjoy watching this movie too, just in general. If you guys have Disney Plus, or I think it's on Netflix too. They have like a lot of documentaries that even show you how to act. They actually like did the stop motion animation, which is really, really interesting if you guys are into that. But yeah, I would say just because like it's on the creepier side, and
it's absolutely creepy.
I don't think it gives me like warm and fuzzy Christmas vibes as much, like, but I definitely would still watch it for Christmas. But if I had to choose, like, which by the way, yeah, if you guys have seen, we talk on JD's channel, we were talking about also Nightmare Before Christmas, the Halloween overlay at Disneyland. This was my first time actually going on the overlay for Halloween, which I specifically had us go in Halloween time because because of the overlay. Yeah, so which is really cool. If you guys ever go to Disney, it's like a Haunted Mansion, which is one of my favorite rides all time. They do an overlay where it's like Nightmare Before Christmas themed, and they kind of mix it in with the classic ride, which is really, really cool. But yeah, my vote's for Halloween. What do you think, Ailey?
Well, someone made their opinion very clear. No, I think it's a Christmas movie for me. Mostly, I don't watch it a lot during Halloween. I find that I often watch it during Christmas time, but that's not to say that it isn't creepy. It is absolutely creepy. But I just think of Jack Skellington in like the Christmas outfit and the Santa suit, and like, I don't know, to me, it is more of a Christmas movie for when I often watch it more than anything. But yeah, I can't like say that it gives me warm and fuzzy feelings, because it definitely does it. But I love it nonetheless.
We are divided here. What do you guys think? Let's see. We do have a vote for Christmas, I see. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool like that there are movies that can kind of fit in. Like I was saying, like even like Gremlins or like something like this. It's like it's interesting that it's like a holiday movie, but it literally can go either way, and I think that's a cool thing. Just like everybody has their own tradition based on that too. So
now we got our back issues. We did some reading, which I'm actually excited. I have some like Halloween-y themed reads, and then some that are not, that I just had to say that were really good.
Oh, of course.
Do you want to start us off?
Sure. So usually I have things I share are things that I've 100% read, but there's no way I was not gonna like talk about this. So something that's been sitting on in my TBR for the longest time was, or maybe like at least a year. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but yeah, is speaking of Dracula. So this is a hardcover collected edition, or actually I don't think it ever came out as single issues. I think it's a graphic novel, and it's Bram Stoker's Dracula starring Bela Lugosi, which is the original Dracula, and they the family gave the rights and everything to his likeness, so it, as you can see, like the art is amazing. That was one thing.
Inside, I'm really curious.
Yeah. So the whole thing is in black and white, which of course fits the actual movie and the.
Oh wow!
Like that is amazing.
That is really
like I was seeing art online originally when it came out, and I was like, I have to get it.
It's
Which actually,
incredibly
I've
detailed.
never seen. Me again saying how much I love Universal Monsters. I've never actually seen Dracula, the original. I know him because of the Abbott Costello movie, but I don't even think I've read Dracula either, because I've been trying to like at least like get exposed to some of the classic monster like books and things. But
It's good. I've read it before. I liked it. It's unexpected. I don't think when people think of Dracula, if they've never read Bram Stoker's version, it's all through like journal entries and letters is like the entire
yeah, and that's really
story.
cool. I mean, so far, I'm trying to see if that is fitting the vibe at all. Not really, but oh my god, look at this even.
Oh wow.
Like, it's absolutely stunning. But I think this will be a good like introduction to like at least get the idea of the story, and then eventually I'm gonna actually watch the movie and then be able to compare like how they adapted it. But I even was enjoying even reading the introduction in here, because it actually like gave some more information about Bela Lugosi and how like one thing they almost didn't even cast him as Dracula, which is just wild to me because he's of course the most like iconic one.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually said that he was only Dracula in 2 films, which was Dracula obviously, and then the one with Abbott and Costello, which I guess I didn't realize either. But yeah, so the introduction is actually done by I believe his granddaughter and his son, which is really awesome.
That's really cool.
So yeah, if you guys are obviously Dracula fans, Bela Lugosi, you're just like classic horror stories, like I definitely recommend it. It's a pretty thick guy, and eventually like I'll be able to give my full thoughts on it, but there's no way I was like I have to like talk about it just because it's something that I've been like haven't I've been wanting to read, and then now I've just started reading it, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
That looks really epic. I mean, I am probably going to want to borrow it after
of course,
because the artwork looks stunning, and
beautiful.
I definitely want to see the older version. But what is coming out, the Nosferatu film, the other Dracula, but I forget.
I don't know if I knew there was a new one coming out.
Yeah, it's
Nosferatu. Of course, like Nosferatu's like the first vampire ever.
Next year. It's directed by Robert Edgers, who also did The Northman, The Lighthouse, and The Witch.
Okay.
So I've never seen The Lighthouse, but I've seen The Witch, and that's a scary movie. And I've been wanting to see The Northman, and I think Count Orlok, the guy who's going to be Nosferatu, I think is Bill Skarsgård. So.
Oh well, then perfect. As we were talking, yeah. He's good at being creepy. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I'll have to look into that because I don't think I knew that. So very very cool. Very cool to see like classic monsters, of course, coming back. So with that being said,
classic monsters. So this was definitely on my most anticipated kind of like comics coming out. James Tynion and Martin Simmons did Dracula, which is wild to me because I mean James Tynion is a great writer.
But and it's actual Universal, right? On the cover. Yeah, so it's the same deal. This is I don't. Does it look like Bela Lugosi at all?
Oh no. Well, you haven't really seen like you've kind of seen it with the count. Let me see if I can find.
Yeah.
No, it's.
So we both got this issue while I was out. I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but I was flipping through it and like these like full spreads, the art. Wow, it's so
good. It's so creepy. I was reading it last night and I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna be like a little creeped out. And like it's so well written. It's really compelling. James Tynion wrote kind of how this project landed in on his desk, and also just how important the icon of Dracula meant to him. And so yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, I'm definitely
good. I highly recommend picking this up. I'm definitely going to do the single issues of this because I don't want to wait, and it's so good.
Oh no, yeah, I think I would do the same too. Plus the covers, I bet are just going to be all.
I mean, yeah,
I love that.
It is so good. I mean, they're just a phenomenal duo. They did Department of Truth, which is so good. And then I was really pumped to see them creatively working on Dracula, and it's perfect for the spooky season.
Really?
But yeah, it's eerie, it's creepy, it's I love it, the aspect where it's like playing with, you know, kind of madness and mental illness and like the kind of like early, maybe like 1800s.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me, if anyone has seen Penny Dreadful.
Oh, no, I haven't, but I know what you're talking about.
It
Yeah.
was either Showtime or HBO series. I think it was Showtime. It's one of my favorite series. It has Eva Green, and it is a show that takes a lot of its inspiration from the classic literature of like the monsters of Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Dracula. So it's less focused on kind of our more modern interpretations and the more classical literature perspective.
Very cool.
It's really awesome. I had watched a bunch of like the behind the scenes and the creating and the writer discussing what he wanted to pull into it. So if you've read the novels, you see a lot of Easter eggs. So I was like, definitely went through a rabbit hole on that, and it's incredibly spooky show.
That's cool. I should, yeah. That sounds like something actually I would like, I think.
I think you'd like it. I will say it actually gets pretty creepy in certain episodes. There's like some demonic possession situations.
Yeah, which I told Haley is like a no for me, but it's okay. I might
recommend. What else have you been reading?
So I've been trying to decide which one I want to talk about. Because I've been like mostly reading like spooky stuff, but
as one
I actually really, I think these came out in August. But I've actually started diving into the Night Terrors series, DC.
Ooh, how is it?
So the ones I've read, so I think I've only read issue 1 of a couple of them, and then I bought issue 2 because I think each one has 2 issues each. So this is the Poison Ivy one, which I'll be talking about. I also got Harley Quinn and Zatanna because I've been diving into like more Zatanna lately. Plus, of course, they came out with a bunch of other, like, basically all the DC characters.
Yeah, it's a huge crossover. Is it? I guess you would consider. Yeah, it's a huge crossover event.
Yeah.
Has like
Which, a lot of times, I mean, I've been sucked into those before, and then I ended up with like way too many issues. So I just tried to kind of pick which ones I knew I actually would love. So, so I picked the Poison Ivy. And of course, this one. Excuse me. Okay. Is of course it also
focuses that one. I need to
you would like it also because it focuses on like Harley and Ivy, which I've been really enjoying on stories with both of them. So this one is the Poison Ivy one, and I've been trying to get an idea of just the storyline in general for each of them. Is I think it actually gives you a synopsis somewhere.
Isn't there like
it's called
there's some kind of like evil
I think it's called Insomnia or something like that, and because all the characters like go into like their own kind of like dream world, and in this one so she goes into one where it's like very like it's very creepy because it's like a neighborhood where all the DC characters are like have like their own little like a neighborhood setting. So you see like Batman like grilling outside, and it's very much like one of those things like if you do something, it's like overly friendly basically. And so like you do something wrong, and then it can like everything just like here's I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, and I'm not doing a very good job. But so like it's very much like where she's like housewife type Harley and everything. Like she's
trying to have meant to be like their deepest like fears, or essentially they're like living
something like and like where Harley wants everything to be perfect for Ivy, but then if you say something is like you don't want something, or you say that something really like isn't perfect, then you're like it's all gonna go wrong for there, and it turns like very creepy and like murderous type thing. So as you can see, here's like Batman, like in like a.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I remember all of the like preview issues being like it focusing on every like each character, their like dream world is like their deepest fears are like the reality that they're living in this kind of world right now. And then I remember specifically the joke. It was like what is the person who brings fear? What does he fear himself? Was one of the ideas. So it's definitely on my list to
yeah.
read.
So I've been enjoying the Poison Ivy one the best though. I think just because like does give creepy vibes and it shows like their relationship about more. And like it's honestly seems like more of like it's more of like what Harley would want rather than Poison Ivy, and like just like what she wants, like this perfect relationship, perfect like house, life, everything like that. And then yeah, like when people start to realize like this is there's not something creepy about it, then yeah, just everything goes downhill. But yeah, I'm in the middle of reading the second one, and I've been really enjoying those. And like each character's one is very different from the other two. But yeah, that's
I definitely can't wait to read the Poison Ivy. I don't think I do any other ones, but Poison Ivy is one that I would read.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
So this isn't spooky, but Fire and Ice I just had to talk about because it is phenomenal. So I bought issue 2, and the artwork is definitely, it's just fun. It's incredibly my vibe. Also, the writing is so good. It's hilarious. I was reading it, like some of the jokes are just incredibly snarky, but also really witty and smart. And so when I feel like it could easily, the artwork almost lends itself to like, is it one of those kind of like slice of life, kind of like fluffy comics, but it actually has a lot of depth to it. And I feel like the writing is really compelling. And I found myself looking up when issue 3 was coming because it ended, and I was like, I immediately need to read more. And I could see myself kind of like falling in love with these characters. And so much of it is also kind of like them dealing with like Fire and Ice are moved to Smallville. And one of the main points of tension in the storyline is that they're kind of learning how to be individuals when they've kind of always been so close together and best friends. And so it deals with a lot of themes of friendship and a little bit of codependency. And it's just really good. And it's funny. Yeah, there's, it definitely is a bit mature too, has like some mature themes that were in it that I thought were funny and good. So definitely recommend. I mean, Greg Smallwood is doing some of the cover art for these. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I picked up the first one so far. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. But definitely when you talked about it in one of our other shows, I was like, oh, that sounds like something I would like. And I like that it's centered around like friendship and things like that.
Well, and it's one of those series like Dracula where I'm like, I want to keep buying the single issues because I just don't want to wait for a trade to read it. And I feel like there hasn't been a ton of things that have made me feel so compelled to be like, I need every issue. And Fire and Ice is immediately that. And I feel like a comic book, when it is at its best, makes you want to dive further into those characters and into that history. And I have to say that this series makes me want to know everything about Fire and Ice. Like, I feel like it's another Scarlet Witch or Dazzler for me. Like, I really am enjoying them, and I love the way that they are written. So I know that they're not incredibly prominent characters, and I know that they featured in Human Target, which I need to finish. But
that's so good too. I read the first volume and I really loved it.
Human Target is, Tom King, Greg Smallwood.
Yeah.
Does it get better?
Great duo, yeah.
What was your third pick for this week?
So keep going with the spookies. This was I told it indie series of The Midnight Show.
Ooh.
Which just came out this year. It was something I was just like, I knew it was coming out because I was like looking through what was coming out that week, and I saw it and saw like a lot of like monsters and things. And of course, then I was like, I need that. Let's see what it is. And it's a very much like as you can see, like classic creature feature Boris Karloff vibes.
That's really cool.
And I do have to kind of remind myself what it 100%, but I believe it was they are showing like older like classic movies at a theater, and then I want to say they start showing like things that are happening around the town, and that actually monsters that are, you know, being portrayed in the films are actually like out in the real world.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
sure how that yet, since I only read the first issue, like how exactly, like why that's happening. But I really thought it was interesting. Like they're even showing like I mean, it's not really a spoiler. It's just like they're showing like here, like they're going between like the real world and like the movie, and kind of just seeing like the same kind of scenarios happening in the real world by these monsters. And it's like, yeah, classic monsters. I like the art. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I see there's like mummies, you know, creature Black Lagoon type. Yeah, I am really enjoying it so far, and I don't know how many issues have come out yet. Let me see when this even. Yeah, this came out in October, so I don't know if they have some more. Oh, thank you, John. Sorry, I was like so into like looking. Ooh, yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, I highly recommend. I really wanted this cover too. Like they had a couple. I think they had another variant, but this one, yeah, absolutely love it with just all the different like classic vampires, werewolves. Totally my vibe.
We love a good monster.
Yeah.
Comic.
So yeah, and it's by Dark Horse. So love
it. Well, I'm gonna finish it up with also spooky Haunted Mansion.
That's right. She read that. I don't even know if I heard your thoughts on that yet, so I'm excited to.
Yeah, I thought it was really. So I have other issues which I want to, because they really the story gets like started more so at the end. There's a lot of setup in the first issue where you have a character who passes the haunted mansion with his grandfather, and his grandfather is like this world explorer and has a really kind of outgoing personality, and the grandson sees him as this like really brave person, and the grandson views himself as someone who is not really inclined toward risk taking and feels very cautious. And you know, something kind of like happens within the first issue where the grandson feels like he has to now explore the haunted mansion because he wants to be as brave as his grandfather. And that's kind of where the first issue ends, is like him about to enter the haunted mansion. So I have not gotten, you know, to see more of the haunted mansion, the stories that they are going to write for the comic series, but the first issue was fun. And it definitely set me up enough to where I'm like, okay, I want to at least read issue 2. So
yeah, and I have all of that, so you can read it if you have something that you don't want to commit to. But yeah, I think I started reading one of my collected editions, but I didn't finish it. So that's something I need to like dive back into. Because I collected a lot of the single issues because, as I mentioned, I'm a huge Haunted Mansion fan. And it's always really interesting seeing, because I've of course seen both of the movies, of course like the ride itself, and then they've done like novel adaptation like YA,
yeah, they did a lot.
There was a video game I played back in the day on GameCube. Like literally there's like, so it's really interesting seeing the different takes on it, because there is lore that is like known if you're a fan of like Haunted Mansion, but some things they kind of will add to depending on how you're learning, like reading it or experiencing it. So yeah, I really like those. A lot of the variant covers are really fun because it's all of course related to the ride, which I love. But yeah, I think it's just like a fun like Disney Halloween vibe. So I'm glad that you started reading it, and yeah, I'll definitely will start reading it, so then we can kind of like talk about it and stuff.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and I'd seen the new Haunted Mansion, so definitely leave your thoughts in the comments, guys, if you've seen the new Haunted Mansion. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
too.
Really I thought the casting was great too. And Candis made me watch the documentary on the ride. So I also went in knowing some of the lore. Yeah. Candis was like, you're sitting down and watching this.
Yeah, because I had to really teach you just like, about I'm gonna call you out, but she didn't know that the ride came first. So I was kind of like, okay, Haley, I have to, because that's like something I live and breathe, is all these like Disney rides and movies and things. So I was like, we're gonna watch this, we're gonna learn all about it, because it's really cool, like especially when you're in watching the movie, like seeing all these Easter eggs. Oh, thank you.
I agree. I was not a huge fan of the old version, but I love the new version.
Yeah, I think both are good, but the newest one I think was the creepier and like truest, I think, to the ride, in my opinion. But yeah, so it's definitely really good, whether you're a fan of the ride or not, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our scary movie Halloween themed Candis's birthday show. And we will be posting pictures later today. So make sure you're checking our Instagrams, because we are getting dressed up.
Yes.
And we're going to a pop-up tonight. So
very excited. Yeah, thank you guys for all tuning in and for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it, and it makes my day a little extra special. Of course, like, you guys are always a very important part of my life, so I really appreciate it.
All right.
All right, bye everyone.